Pisces! Hi, cross watchers! Welcome to Project Fev, Tarot and More. I'm Sharon, intuitive empath, and I'm going to do a tarot and more reading for the month of April, channeling April's energy, okay? So this may or may not have already happened. Remember, this is about to happen or could have already happened in moving into the energies of April. So there might be something in the body of the message. If you don't understand what terminology I'm using about the body of the message, there's an instructional video. Scroll through my videos on my channel and you'll find one, how do I know this resonates with me? And that video really kind of breaks down exactly what it is in the reading that I'm referring to. Quick little instructional. But in the body of the message, if the information resonates with you, then you know that the rest of the reading, it can be trusted for the advice cards, etc. Okay, so let's move right into the reading because I want to kind of, do the housekeeping stuff at the end. But I had already started your reading, Pisces, and I'm like blocked. Okay, so this is the third attempt to kind of move through your reading. And I'm working really hard right now to not work hard. I'm trying to go with the flow, but here's what I've got from what I've, put on the Celtic cross spread already. Okay, so classic Celtic cross spread set up. The body of the message is really about, you guys seem to be in some type of verbal, I don't want to say altercation necessarily, but there is some type of verbal banter, or there is some back and forth. There's ping-ponging, okay, with this other person, with your person of interest. Now, I might say he, she, masculine, feminine, divine masculine, divine feminine, as that comes up. Understand that the energies are interchangeable. There's duality. It's not gender specific, so don't get hung up on the he, she thing being a guy or a girl necessarily by definition. Masculine and feminine energy exists in all of us, so take it as it resonates. But what I see kind of coming out here is you guys are more in your masculine, okay? You're more in your masculine energy. We've got the Knight of Swords popping up here, and we've got the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, okay? Very unusual energy for a love read for Pisces. Okay, you guys are usually very dreamy, kind of like fantasic when it comes to relationships, but something about this read is very different. It's like you're trying to learn how to ground the relationship in a sense of reality without giving away too much of your own power. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, that's how it's coming through for me, okay? We've got the Six of Wands in reverse, the base of the situation. We've got the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. We've got the Knight of Swords. In your headspace is the Seven of Cups reversed, okay? So this represents you and everything that's going on with you or about to go on with you as far as this situation is concerned. Seven of Cups in reverse, okay? So every single element is represented on the table here, okay? Every single element. And I do believe that the Knight of Swords in this situation is about fluid communication. There's an essence that you have mastered with this person of interest, significant other relationship, that you've mastered an element of the communication so that you remain, in essence, balanced and neutral. Okay? Temperance card has come up in the past position. It's a major arcana card, which indicates to me that this was a lesson well learned. I do believe that it was a difficult lesson learned, and you're moving away from that energy, but you're not completely out of it as of yet, okay? Because in the future position is the Nine of Swords in reverse, which means you've released some of the anxieties that you have that are causing you to maybe be clingy or need too much reassurance, okay? That's being released in the future position. So April is really going to be working you to kind of release some of your anxieties, release some of your need to be reaffirmed or have verbal validation, okay, is what I'm getting, what's coming through. And learning how to create balance within yourself and balance externally as a result of your internal balance, okay? So that's what I see. I see the element of the cups and emotionality and water signs represented in your headspace. I see the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles in your heart and in your emotional space. So there is a sense of wanting security, okay, but not entrapment, okay? So with the Six of Wands in reverse, with the Knight of Swords in the upright as the basis of the situation here, I do believe that you want to feel a sense of security, but you don't necessarily want to do that as a dependent. You don't want to give up your power. You want to be able to maneuver the relationship to your liking as well, okay? And I think that what this Nine of Swords energy represented for this situation is that you were almost going to take action to do a quick release. Yeah, like you kind of dug your heels in the sand, but didn't let anybody know about it. You just kind of represented that energy of like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And even though your partner really, really wanted it and they were kind of like on their own timeline, it's almost like you kind of secretively knew you weren't going to do it just because they wanted to. Yeah. I think that's the energy that's coming through here is I'm not going to let you be the champion of me and the situation just because you want to be. So let's say like if you're a male Piscean and you're in a relationship with a female and she's saying, my biological clock is ticking, I expected to have kids by 30. We need to have kids. Or I want to have kids. When are we going to have kids? When are we going to start having kids? You're not creating conflict per se. You're not arguing with them. You know, you just, you know, not having kids. Not going to have kids just because your partner wants them, I guess you could say. So I think what's happening with that situation and that energy is you're trying to create more balance here. Okay, the Temperance card is here, and the lesson that you haven't learned yet but is coming is about creating balance within yourself and within the situation so that you're not always the Six of Wands upright. You do kind of have to have a little give and take with your partner. It can't always be your timeline and your comfort zone either, Pisces. You know, can't always cake and eat it too. Emotional concerns, or you know, just your concerns or thought, you know, your thoughts about the situation. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I'm gonna have to get clarification on some of these cards, really get a more elaborate story, because this is so different for you guys. Not necessarily the obstinance where you're kind of like, yeah, you need to have kids, that's great. Yeah, you need to get married, that's great. I'm not going to do it just because you want me to do it. I do believe that there may be some concerns that you have about grounding this relationship and making it more in reality, or that you're not really accepting the full totality of the reality of the situation just yet. Okay. So there's some cutting energies here. And I do feel like you guys are kind of waiting for the right time. Okay, so right now things are kind of in communication is where I see things right now. You guys are in communication, but you're kind of waiting to be poised or waiting for the right time. The Sun card is over here in the clarification card pack that comes along with the, you know, the Celtic cross spread. So we'll see how those cards play in and fit into the reading here, okay? But basically I'm really just gonna dive right into the clarifiers because I feel like this is just so non-specific and so atypically Pisces. Like there's literally nothing on here that represents Pisces at all. It's all like in your head, but not anxiety. And it's like trying to create balance on either side of the scale. You know, so we're trying to take a step back. I do feel like there's like trying to take a little bit of a step back and kind of hold your horses and wait for, you know, the right time kind of thing. So let's get some clarifiers. Where are we going to start, Spirit? Okay, so we said blockages at the beginning. I said there were some blockages. So I'm being led to the Wild Offering deck because it depicts Ganesh or Ganesha, and it's the remover of obstacles. So clarify for us the Knight of Swords energy here, Spirit. Okay. Yeah, okay. So self-sufficiency is the card that's resonating with me. And I still feel like that's not it. We need to clarify the Eight of Pentacles. Here we go. Okay, calmness. Temperance and calmness are confirmation cards for each other. And self-sufficiency and the situation with the Eight of Pentacles here and the Knight of Swords is really for the self-sufficiency cards here. So let me do the self-sufficiency because that came out first. This was the first card that popped out of the deck. And it says the ultimate self-sufficiency is relying on God. It doesn't mean hiding in a cave and saying, I don't need people. Instead, it's saying, God is my source and I am willing to receive all the help, love, and support that wants to come. Okay. It's so interesting. There's some parallels in this reading that I'm kind of seeing play out. If you're dealing with an aqua, the last reading that I just did was aqua, and some of that energy might be residually carrying over. This won't resonate with every Pisces in this reading, but aqua did get a strong, watery, strong water sign energy in their reading as far as like who they were dealing with. And then two complementary cards that were in their reading also came out in your reading as the side energy. So it kind of makes me think if you're dealing with an aqua, that really what this is kind of indicating is that you're the party or you're the person that was being referred to in that reading. If you're a cross watcher, or, you know, Pisces, go cross watch the aqua video that I just posted because it just illuminates this whole situation in detail. But it really is about gaining some clarity about self-sufficiency because your partner is starting to feel stifled or suffocated. And if they're using those words specifically, then yeah, clue to you. That's your sign. Pay attention. Hello. You know, I don't know if you need to get hit on the head with a big brick, but I mean, you know, not to be condescending. I'm just saying no judgment. Of course, Lord knows I've made mistakes. So I think what it really comes down to is this Temperance card. Okay, so really the lesson that needs to be learned that hasn't been learned yet, and that's why the Eight of Pentacles is in the reverse, is you guys are going to be in the process of releasing and purging some anxieties for the month of April, accepting some harsh truths and realities about yourself. And then as you release and purge, it creates space. And that space can be filled with healthier ideologies. You can redefine how you view relationships. You can redefine what causes your anxieties or insecurities, you can start creating positive affirmations and reciting those to yourself and getting a more positive mantra towards the future, okay? Calmness came up, and this is the card that is synergistic with the card of Temperance in the past position. And this card says the inner divine is the witness of all, remaining still and quiet even during intense turbulence. So take a deep breath and then say, quiet my mind, dear Lord, may your peaceful calm take over. Okay, so I feel like some of you have been dealing with intense anxiety, okay, because the Nine of Swords came out in the reading, which means the energy of this card or what it represents is on the table in the reading. It's an affecting energy. Whether this card is in reverse or upright only gives information detailed to the situation in relationship to the other cards that are on the table, but the energy of this card still exists. And that card is about self-created anxieties. Self-created anxieties. This woman is comforting herself in the bed. She's trying to comfort herself, but she can get up out of the bed. She can move away from the swords. There's nothing holding her there. And the owl is depicted there, and the owl is the symbol of wisdom. So the wisdom that she needs to move through this night and find her comfort is there. Okay, she's just not seeing it. She's looking down and she's not paying attention to the fact that the wisdom is there. She's not looking at the owl. Okay, and I think that that is kind of the message that's coming through for the future position in this read for April. By the end of April, you'll probably work through some pretty intense energies and some anxieties, learning how to create a bit more self-sufficiency and not be so codependent on your partner. Okay, this is not a bad thing. It is what it is. Okay, and if it's the aqua, part of what was happening is the aqua enabled some of that and created that in your relationship, because aqua in that situation kind of wanted to be needed by you. That helped them feel masculine. Okay, but over the course of time, what's happened is it's kind of suffocated the air out of the aqua. Okay, and they've lost a sense of their individuality. And I think perhaps maybe you have too. And there's nothing wrong with merging and melding in a relationship and becoming so tight and close in your bond that it's a great partnership, but it's still a relationship built from two individuals, and individualistic identity needs to be maintained. Okay, and that's really what this self-sufficiency card is alluding to, is finding your center, finding your sense of self and recreating that balance, or coming back to center, coming back to balance. Okay, so clarifying the Six of Wands in reverse is the Moonology deck. Okay, so I'm being led to the Moonology Oracle cards. Okay, so that's the deck that we're going to be using. Usually what this indicates is there's some type of external influence here that's creating this situation. Although there's not very many major arcana here, which leads me to believe that a lot of this comes down to choice. Okay, so here's what it is. Your commitment is being tested. Okay. Can you maintain your level of commitment with an allowing space? Okay. I feel like there's another card here. Is it Moonology? No. Okay. Okay. Clarify the Six of Wands. We're using now the Soul's Journey. Okay, so there's some emotional something attached to this whole situation at the base of it. Okay. And I feel like we're going to get clarification from this deck about what that is. Doubt. Okay, so the doubt is at the basis of the situation, creating all of this anxiety. And the positive affirmation on the card that helps you maneuver through the doubt. I release the need to know all the answers. Okay? So if you're working really hard to try to figure things out, there's something you're not seeing, because the Nine of Swords here is she's missing some piece of wisdom. There's something there that she's not seeing. It's just she's not seeing it. Okay, I feel like there's more cards here, different. Okay, Nine of Swords in reverse. Okay, so you're afraid of failure. Okay, humor has come out. Okay, and you're taking things too seriously is really what this is. You're going deep, too deep into the cup with the water. You're just diving too deep. Okay? I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. Is about the failure card. So it seems that you're probably going to experience, some type of anxiety or something related to a fear of failure. And you're definitely taking it too seriously, or will take it too seriously, whatever the situation is, okay, in the relationship. I choose to focus on the lighter side of life, is what I see here for the humor card. And there's a Buddha. Happy little Buddha. It's like the Bob Ross of Buddhas. So, let's see, where are we going next? We're going to clarify the Ace of Swords in reverse, because this is what you need to release. Okay, so what does Pisces need to release and work through in the month of April? Happiness. That popped out, and we'll get into that. I feel like there's two more cards here. Relationships. Okay, two more cards that came out. Empathy and success in reverse. Okay, so success in reverse, because typically when this card is in reverse, it represents a kind of self-sabotage. Okay, so there's some repetitive default behavior that's causing you to trip up in terms of creating or accepting success in a situation. And it could just be obstinance, where you know what you need to do, but because of the way that you're viewing it with your partner, you're not doing it just because you won't do it. And it's like if your partner would just kind of like let you have more control over that. Okay, so I see kind of like a power struggle here going on, because you've got the Knight of Swords depicted in the body of the message, and over here the clarifiers has the Knight of Swords or the King of Swords. So one of you is coming in with like the no, I'm the king, no, I'm the king, no, I'm the king, no, I'm the king, no, I'm the king. But it seemingly is, it's not necessarily being spoken. Okay, even though swords represents communication, I feel like this is more psychological. There's like psychological power struggle going on, a psychological power battle with some passive aggressive behaviors. Okay, because that's completely out of balance. Passive aggressiveness it's not an imbalanced or healthy way to communicate. Okay, and I see here that you've got the Ace of Swords in reverse. Is the way that you're viewing your partner right now, which is there's potentially some very unhealthy communication, okay? When there is communication, if there is communication, this isn't the Two of Swords, which is really what indicates a standoff kind of position or, situation. This is the Ace of Swords in reverse. So it's almost like you guys have retracted communication almost altogether. Maybe the silent treatment is part of what's being used here. So you're treating your partner with the silent treatment. And it's like the empathy card has come out, okay, which is I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. And it just seems like you don't want to see things from their point of view. You just want it to be the way that you want it to be. and you're not being argumentative necessarily, but you're not necessarily being cooperative and relationship centered either. And that's affecting your happiness as well as your partner's, mind you. Okay, no passive aggressive silent treatment ever makes anybody happy. Unless, unless you're just like, dude, I'm done talking about it. So silence all you want to. That's making me feel good. I'm done arguing about it, right? So happiness is, I am aware that being happy means that I am on the right path. So if you're not happy, guess what that really implies? That you're not on the right path. And relationships, I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. So, the Empress card is coming out in the desired outcome, and that really kind of makes me feel like self-love is an issue here. Okay. So whatever energy you guys started out with March, this high focus on yourself, self-love, champion of yourself, I feel like something was a wrench in your spokes. You picked up speed in March, and then boom, 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 boom. There's some default behaviors kind of playing out here. It's okay. We all have to practice and relapse. So the Eight of Pentacles is the Apprentice card. It's the card of learning lessons from our choices. It's a card of focusing on, every little detail and kind of getting it right. It's the essence of really wanting to get it right, and this is in the reverse. So I think that we've the energy that I'm picking up here is it's really moved into kind of like this default energy where you want to manifest the Empress for yourself, which is the most desirable, most attractive energy that you could expect for a Pisces. It's a major arcana card. So you really desire to be the best version of yourself, and something here is keeping you from that. And what I see in the cards is it's really your choices. Okay, you have the support of the universe because the Sun card is here in the upright, the Temperance card is here in the upright, the Empress card is here in the upright. So all of the major arcanas are upright, and they're positively focused cards. Okay, they really are. The Sun is one of the best omens in the tarot deck. So getting that card to come out as an influencing energy in the reading means that you really have luck on your side. The universe is really working with you to help you learn this lesson. And if you haven't, it's because it's come down to your choices or your awareness or level of awareness. And I think self-sufficiency is playing a role in that, and fear of failure is definitely playing a role in that. So where are we going next? Clarifying the Seven of Pentacles, which is your answer. Okay, so the Seven of Pentacles is about seasons, reasons, and purpose. Okay, and when it comes to the Seven of Pentacles, it's about reaping what you sow. It is in the upright, which means it's not a negative karmic situation where you have sown seeds of karmic retribution in a negative fashion. It does indicate, though, that the seeds that you've planted, you kind of have to wait for them to fully mature. Okay, so what I would get in essence of this is don't be too hard on yourselves for some of this default behavior that kind of resurfaces in April, because you're learning. You're still learning. And it's okay to be in this pentacle energy and grounded, and not so much in a place where you're comfortable, which is in your fantasy or in your spiritual self or in your higher sense of, I guess in your thoughts and creative ideas. Sometimes Pisces loves to live in the artistic realm, and it needs a tangible, earthy grounding. And I see that you guys really want to do that. You want to become more grounded, and you want to become more self-sufficient, and you want calm and peace in all of that, which is really more earth. That self-sufficiency with calmness is really more earth, okay? So in the relationship, I feel like your commitment is being tested because there's heartache associated with this, okay? The Three of Swords came out as an influencing energy in reverse. And I feel like as your partner creates space, you feel a sense of loss, okay? And there's grief. Okay, so you feel, okay, so Seven of Swords came out with the Three of Swords. Okay, so you're experiencing some heartache because the way that you're viewing this situation in the Nine of Swords energy, okay, so the Nine of Swords is on the table with the Seven of Swords is you think your partner's just kind of making a break for it. And you're not really seeing things with wisdom because it's not in balance. It's out of balance. The calmness isn't there. So that's how you know that it's anxiety, and you can't trust anxiety, and you shouldn't trust anxiety, but that doesn't mean you can't trust your partner. Okay, so the commitment that's being tested, I don't feel like is the commitment to your partner. I feel like the commitment that's being tested is, are you committed to this change? Are you committed to this transformation? Are you committed to being a champion in your own right, in your own self-sufficiency? Are you a champion of yourself, or are you going to let doubt come in, create all of this anxiety, self-sabotage your success, and then create and manifest the failure that inevitably comes from all of that? You know, that's what seemingly is a default mechanism here for whoever this resonates with. Is you know, you guys are used to things not turning out the way that you want them to, because you give in or give way to doubt, and it has a significant effect on your happiness and relationships, because, you know, when you're trying to manifest happiness in your relationship or make changes to make your relationship more happy, you have to deal with all of the uncomfortable feelings and emotions that surface as a result of the change. And sometimes that takes alone time and space, and you want your partner to kind of like, help me, help, comfort, comfort, help, help, comfort, comfort. I'm a damsel in distress, help, comfort, comfort. I feel all of this uncomfortable stuff, and I feel like my security is being rocked. And it is. And it is. All of your cups have been turned upside down. This is in your headspace, okay? And you're having an emotional attachment to it. So everything you feel sentimental about is being tipped upside down. And you're feeling like you're, you know, this could have the feeling of like, my whole world is upside down. Everything that I value is upside down. Everything's coming into, called into question. And it's like, yeah, your commitment is being tested. But you have to test to find out if it's true. Experiments in science is what determines relatively what information is accurate, and you can validate. Okay, so if you want validation out of this whole process, you want the Seven of Pentacles, you have to stay the course. If you want to view yourself as the Empress in all of this, and this is really your true desire to be the best version of yourself, in every way, this isn't going to happen overnight, okay? And that's kind of like the Piscean energy is, oh, if I do A and B and C, I'm going to get D. Well, yeah, that's true, and it's going to happen by next week. See, I've already made the changes, and here it's coming. And then, boom, monkey wrench right in the spokes, and down you go. And unfortunately, and I'm not being insensitive about it, when I say down you go, I just feel like this is a little bit of a, when I say default, it's, you know, you kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. But that's okay. Like I said, don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself. Spiritual journeys really require a lot of steadfast perseverance. Okay, so I'm being led to this, the Journey Within cards for supportive energy with the Empress, okay? Supportive energy, personal growth came out, so we're going to take that card. Supportive energy for Pisces. Support the Empress energy for Pisces. collective energy for Pisces. Okay, here we go. First one out, living consciously, personal growth. So I think this is right up your alley, Pisces, when it comes to this kind of change that you want to manifest for yourself. And the card says, many people go through life solely on the shores of life and death, building castles of worldly accomplishments in the sand of material existence. But at the dusk of life, the rising ocean of time will wash everything away. For a truly lasting legacy, live a life grounded in mindful intention and love. Perfect. There's the perfect confirmation of what you guys are trying to manifest. For your best self, okay? This is the card that came out next, which is about servant leadership in this deck. And it says, be the change. It is impossible to make a sustainable change in society without a corresponding change in one's own behavior, values, and philosophy. Well, I think that goes along with your commitment is being tested. Like, how much do you believe what you say you believe? How willing are you to put your money where your mouth is at? How much do you want this? Are you going to give up? And if you do, then, and that's fine if you do, if it's just something that you think is too hard or not that important to you, it's okay to release it. You know, the universe will bring it back to you at a time later on, you know, when you're more ready to manage and handle it. Personal growth card came out as the third card, clarifying the Empress. Okay, and it says expanding compassion. Expand your spirit of compassion by honoring the sanctity of all life. Okay, so we did get the empathy card, okay? And I think that that's what correlates together, is the empathy and compassion. These are two human experiences that require connection. You know, if there's not another person to consider, then empathy isn't necessary unless you're talking about your relationship with yourself. And sometimes that's true. Okay, but you know, so it seems like there's some selfish behaviors going on, and really sometimes relationships tend to trigger those for us because we interact with others and their difference in values or value systems, or the difference in communication can kind of trigger within us the issues that we need to face, because they're mirroring back to us ourselves, and then we are facing ourselves and interacting with exactly us, and we're forced to deal with who we are, how we communicate, what makes us feel the way that we feel, why we feel it that way, how deeply we feel it, and how important it is for us to continue feeling it. And, you know, these are expanding energies and, you know, contracting energies, and really, you know, the call to self is to represent the best version of yourself possible. Now, you know, don't let your imagination get carried away with what that could potentially be in the now. Okay, so as far as presence is concerned, it's great to have the Empress as a goal, but in the now, expecting yourself to be the Empress is probably unrealistic, and that's okay. You can work towards self-sufficiency and maybe work through the Nine of Pentacles first. Maybe the Pentacles energy and grounding things into the earth is going to help you solidify the changes you need to make by making the goals more attainable. Okay. So I think that's it. We're going to close out the reading. That pretty much explains all the cards on the table and everything that Spirit has brought forth. I hope that resonated with some of you and was extremely helpful. As always, here's the housekeeping bit. Go ahead and click the like. That helps the message circulate and help as many people as possible. Subscribe to the channel. That also helps Project Fev circulate. Click the little bell over here in the corner, and that will give you notifications to any uploaded content that I add to my channel from here forward in the future. Namaste, light and love. Thanks for watching, guys.